These also are Proverbs of Solomon, which the men of Hezekiah, king of Judah, transcribed. It is the glory of God to conceal a matter, but the glory of kings is to search out a matter. As the heavens for height and the earth for depth, so the heart of kings is unsearchable. Take away the impurities from the silver, and there comes out a vessel for the smith. Take away the wicked before the king, and his throne will be established in righteousness. Do not boast in the presence of the king, and do not stand in the same place as great people. For it is better that it be said to you, "Come up here," than for you to be placed lower in the presence of the prince whom your eyes have seen. Do not go out hastily to argue your case, otherwise what will you do in the end when your neighbor humiliates you? Argue your case with your neighbor, and do not reveal the secret of another, or one who hears it will put you to shame, and the evil report about you will not pass away. Like apples of gold and settings of silver is a word spoken at the proper time. Like an earring of gold and a jewelry piece of fine gold, it is a wise person who offers rebukes to a listening ear. Like the cold of snow in the time of harvest is a faithful messenger to those who send him, for he refreshes the soul of his masters. Like clouds and wind without rain is a person who boasts of his gifts falsely. Through patience a ruler may be persuaded, and a gentle tongue breaks bone. Have you found honey? Eat only what you need, so that you do not have it in excess and vomit it. Let your foot rarely be in your neighbor's house, or he will become weary of you and hate you. Like a club, a sword, and a sharp arrow is a person who gives false testimony against his neighbor. Like a bad tooth and an unsteady foot is confidence in a treacherous person in time of trouble. Like one who takes off a garment on a cold day, or like vinegar on soda, is one who sings songs to a troubled heart. If your enemy is hungry, give him food to eat, and if he is thirsty, give him water to drink. For you will heap burning coals on his head, and the Lord will reward you. The north wind brings rain, and a gossiping tongue brings an angry face. It is better to live on a corner of the roof than in a house shared with a contentious woman. Like cold water to a weary soul, so is good news from a distant land. Like a trampled spring and a polluted well, so is a righteous person who gives way before the wicked. It is not good to eat much honey, nor is it glory to search out one's own glory. Like a city that is broken into and without walls, so is a person who has no self-control over his spirit. Like snow in summer and like rain in harvest, so honor is not fitting for a fool. Like a sparrow in its flitting, like a swallow in its flying, so a curse without cause does not come to rest. A whip is for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a rod for the back of fools. Do not answer a fool according to his foolishness, or you will also be like him. Answer a fool as his foolishness deserves, so that he will not be wise in his own eyes. One who sends a message by the hand of a fool chops off his own feet and drinks violence. Like useless legs to one who cannot walk, so is a proverb in the mouths of fools. Like one who binds a stone in a sling, so is one who gives honor to a fool. Like a thorn that sticks in the hand of a heavy drinker, so is a proverb in the mouths of fools. Like an archer who wounds everyone, so is one who hires a fool or hires those who pass by. Like a dog that returns to its vomit, so is a fool who repeats his foolishness. Do you see a person wise in his own eyes? There is more hope for a fool than for him. As the door turns on its hinges, so does a lazy one on his bed. A lazy one buries his hand in the dish. He is weary of bringing it to his mouth again. A lazy one is wiser in his own eyes than 7 people who can give a discreet answer. Like one who takes a dog by the ears, so is one who passes by and meddles with strife not belonging to him. Like a maniac who shoots flaming arrows and death, so is a person who deceives his neighbor and says, "Was I not joking?" For lack of wood the fire goes out, and where there is no gossiper, quarreling quiets down. Like charcoal to hot embers and wood to fire, so is a contentious person to kindle strife. The words of a gossiper are like dainty morsels, and they go down into the innermost parts of the body. Like an earthenware vessel overlaid with silver impurities are burning lips and a wicked heart. One who hates disguises it with his lips, but he harbors deceit in his heart. When he speaks graciously, do not believe him, because there are 7 abominations in his heart. Though his hatred covers itself with deception, his wickedness will be revealed in the assembly. One who digs a pit will fall into it, and one who rolls a stone, it will come back on him. A lying tongue hates those it crushes, and a flattering mouth works ruin. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. Let another praise you, and not your own mouth, a stranger and not your own lips. A stone is heavy and the sand weighty, but the provocation of a fool is heavier than both of them. Wrath is fierce and anger is a flood, but who can stand before jealousy? Better is open rebuke than love that is concealed, but deceitful are the kisses of an enemy. A satisfied person despises honey, but to a hungry person any bitter thing is sweet. Like a bird that wanders from its nest, so is a person who wanders from his home. Oil and perfume make the heart glad, and a person's advice is sweet to his friend. Do not abandon your friend or your father's friend, and do not go to your brother's house on the day of your disaster. Better is a neighbor who is near than a brother far away. Be wise, my son, and make my heart glad, so that I may reply to one who taunts me. A prudent person sees evil and hides himself, but the naive proceed and pay the penalty. Take his garment when he becomes a guarantor for a stranger, and for a foreign woman seize a pledge from him. One who blesses his friend with a loud voice early in the morning, it will be considered a curse to him. A constant dripping on a day of steady rain and a contentious woman are alike. He who would restrain her restrains the wind, and grasps oil with his right hand. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. One who tends the fig tree will eat its fruit, and one who cares for his master will be honored. As in water a face reflects the face, so the heart of a person reflects the person. Sheol and Abaddon are never satisfied, nor are the eyes of a person ever satisfied. The crucible is for silver, and the furnace for gold, and each is tested by the praise accorded him. Though you pound the fool in a mortar with a pestle along with crushed grain, his foolishness still will not leave him. Know well the condition of your flocks, and pay attention to your herds. For riches are not forever, nor does a crown endure to all generations. When the grass disappears, the new growth is seen, and the herbs of the mountains are gathered in. The lambs will be for your clothing, and the goats will bring the price of a field. And there will be enough goat's milk for your food, for the food of your household, and sustenance for your attendants. The wicked flee when no one is pursuing, but the righteous are bold as a lion. Due to a wrongdoing of a land, its leaders are many, but a person of understanding and knowledge, so it endures. A poor man who oppresses the helpless is like a driving rain which leaves no food. Those who abandon the law praise the wicked, but those who keep the law strive against them. Evil people do not understand justice, but those who seek the Lord understand everything. Better is a poor person who walks in his integrity than a person who is crooked, though he is rich. He who keeps the law is a discerning son, but he who is a companion of gluttons humiliates his father. One who increases his wealth by interest of any kind collects it for one who is gracious to the poor. One who turns his ear away from listening to the law, even his prayer is an abomination. One who leads the upright astray in an evil way will himself fall into his own pit, but the blameless will inherit good. The rich person is wise in his own eyes, but the poor who has understanding sees through him. When the righteous triumph, there is great glory, but when the wicked rise, people hide themselves. One who conceals his wrongdoings will not prosper, but one who confesses and abandons them will find compassion. How blessed is a person who fears always, but one who hardens his heart will fall into disaster. Like a roaring lion and a rushing bear is a wicked ruler over a poor people. A leader who is a great oppressor lacks understanding, but a person who hates unjust gain will prolong his days. A person who is burdened with the guilt of human blood will be a fugitive until death. No one is to support him. One who walks blamelessly will receive help, but one who is crooked will fall all at once. One who works his land will have plenty of food, but one who follows empty pursuits will have plenty of poverty. A faithful person will abound with blessings, but one who hurries to be rich will not go unpunished. To show partiality is not good, because for a piece of bread a man will do wrong. A person with an evil eye hurries after wealth and does not know that poverty will come upon him. One who rebukes a person will afterward find more favor than one who flatters with the tongue. He who robs his father or his mother and says there is no wrong done is a companion of a person who destroys. An arrogant person stirs up strife, but one who trusts in the Lord will prosper. One who trusts in his own heart is a fool, but one who walks wisely will flee to safety. One who gives to the poor will never lack anything, but one who shuts his eyes will have many curses. When the wicked rise, people hide themselves, but when they perish, the righteous increase. A person often rebuked who becomes obstinate will suddenly be broken beyond remedy, but when a wicked person rules, people groan. A man who loves wisdom makes his father glad, but he who involves himself with prostitutes wastes his wealth. The king gives stability to the land by justice, but a person who takes bribes ruins it. A man who flatters his neighbor is spreading a net for his steps. By wrongdoing, an evil person is ensnared, but the righteous sings and rejoices. The righteous is concerned for the rights of the poor. The wicked does not understand such concern. Arrogant people inflame a city, but wise people turn away anger. When a wise person has a controversy with a foolish person, the foolish person either rages or laughs, and there is no rest. People of bloodshed hate the blameless person, but the upright are concerned for his life. A fool always loses his temper, but a wise person holds it back. If a ruler pays attention to falsehood, all his ministers become wicked. The poor person and the oppressor have this in common. The Lord gives light to the eyes of both. If a king judges the poor with truth, his throne will be established forever. The rod and a rebuke give wisdom, but a child who gets his own way brings shame to his mother. When the wicked increase, wrongdoing increases, but the righteous will see their downfall. Correct your son, and he will give you comfort. He will also delight your soul. Where there is no vision, the people are unrestrained, but happy is one who keeps the law. A slave will not be instructed by words alone, for though he understands, there will be no response. Do you see a person who is hasty with his words? There's more hope for a fool than for him. One who pampers his slave from childhood will in the end find him to be rebellious. An angry person stirs up strife, and a hot-tempered person abounds in wrongdoing. A person's pride will bring him low, but a humble spirit will obtain honor. One who is a partner with a thief hates his own life. He hears the oath but tells nothing. The fear of man brings a snare, but one who trusts in the Lord will be protected. Many seek the ruler's favor, but justice for mankind comes from the Lord. An unjust person is an abomination to the righteous, and one who is upright in the way is an abomination to the wicked. The words of Agur the son of Jakeh, the pronouncement. The man declares to Ithiel and Ukal, I am certainly more stupid than any man, and I do not have the understanding of a man, nor have I learned wisdom, nor do I have the knowledge of the Holy One. Who has ascended into heaven and descended? Who has gathered the wind in his fist? Who has wrapped the waters in his garment? Who has established all the ends of the earth? What is his name or his son's name? Surely you know. Every word of God is pure. He is a shield to those who take refuge in him. Do not add to his words, or he will rebuke you, and you will be proved a liar. 2 things I have asked of you. Do not refuse me before I die. Keep deception and lies far from me. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with the food that is my portion, so that I will not be full and deny you and say, Who is the Lord? And that I will not become impoverished and steal and profane the name of my God. Do not slander a slave to his master, or he will curse you and you will be found guilty. There is a kind of person who curses his father and does not bless his mother. There is a kind who is pure in his own eyes, yet he is not washed from his filthiness. There is a kind, oh, how lofty are his eyes, and his eyelids are raised in arrogance. There is a kind of person whose teeth are like swords, and his jaw teeth like knives, to devour the poor from the earth, and the needy from among mankind. The leech has 2 daughters. Give and give. There are 3 things that will not be satisfied, 4 that will not say enough. Sheol, the infertile womb, earth that is never satisfied with water, and fire that never says enough. The eye that mocks a father and scorns a mother, the ravens of the valley will pick it out, and the young eagles will eat it. There are 3 things which are too wonderful for me, 4 which I do not understand. The way of the eagle in the sky, the way of a snake on a rock, the way of a ship in the middle of the sea, and the way of a man with a virgin. This is the way of an adulterous woman. She eats and wipes her mouth, and says, I have done no wrong. Under 3 things the earth quakes, and under 4 it cannot endure. Under a slave when he becomes king, and a fool when he is satisfied with food. Under an unloved woman when she gets a husband, and a female servant when she dispossesses her mistress. 4 things are small on the earth, but they are exceedingly wise. The ants are not a strong people, but they prepare their food in the summer. The rock hyraxes are not a mighty people, yet they make their houses in the rocks. The locusts have no king, yet all of them go out in ranks. The lizard you may grasp with the hands, yet it is in kings' palaces. There are 3 things which are stately in their march, even 4 which are stately when they walk. The lion which is mighty among animals, and does not retreat from anything. The strutting rooster or the male goat, and a king when his army is with him. If you have been foolish in exalting yourself, or if you have plotted evil, put your hand on your mouth. For the churning of milk produces butter, and pressing the nose produces blood, so the churning of anger produces strife. The words of King Lemuel, the pronouncement which his mother taught him. What, my son? And what, son of my womb? And what, son of my vows? Do not give your strength to women, or your ways to that which destroys kings. It is not for kings, Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine, or for rulers to desire intoxicating drink. Otherwise they will drink and forget what is decreed, and pervert the rights of all the needy. Give intoxicating drink to one who is perishing, and wine to one whose life is bitter. Let him drink and forget his poverty, and remember his trouble no more. Open your mouth for the people who cannot speak, for the rights of all the unfortunate. Open your mouth, judge righteously, and defend the rights of the poor and needy. Description of a worthy woman. An excellent wife, who can find her? For her worth is far above jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not evil, all the days of her life. She looks for wool and linen, and works with her hands in delight. She is like merchant ships. She brings her food from afar, and she rises while it is still night, and gives food to her household, and portions to her attendants. She considers a field and buys it. From her earnings she plants a vineyard. She surrounds her waist with strength, and makes her arms strong. She senses that her profit is good. Her lamp does not go out at night. She stretches out her hands to the distaff, and her hands grasp the spindle. She extends her hand to the poor, and she stretches out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She makes coverings for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates, when he sits among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies belts to the tradesmen. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and she smiles at the future. She opens her mouth in wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She watches over the activities of her household, and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and bless her. Her husband also, and he praises her, saying, "Many daughters have done nobly, but you excel them all." Charm is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her the product of her hands, and let her works praise her in the gates.